Very good morning, students. Welcome to your science class, class 7th. We are continuing with chapter number 10, Respiration in Organisms. We'll be starting with activity 10.5. In the last video, we have discussed about the inhalation process in which the diaphragm moves down, and today we'll be talking about the process exhalation in which we give out carbon dioxide and diaphragm moves back to its original space. Can you see the diagram, class? So let's talk about the activity 10.5. We have to take a white plastic bottle एंड रिमूव द बॉटम. एक बड़ी सी प्लास्टिक की बॉटल ले लेंगे और उसका बॉटम जैसे इसमें दिखाया है ऐसे हम इसको रिमूव कर देंगे सो दैट इट बिकम्स अ वाई शेप. कैन यू सी दिस शेप? एक वाई शेप में ले लेंगे. ठीक है. गेट अ वाई शेप ग्लास और अ प्लास्टिक ट्यूब. मेक अ होल इन द लिड सो दैट द लिड ट्यूब में पास थ्रू इट. वी हैव टू मेक अ होल at the upper end so that a tube can be inserted in. Fine. To the forked end of the tube fix two deflated balloons. ये जो ends होंगे हमें यहाँ पर दो balloons लगाने हैं. Fine. And introduce the tube into the bottle as shown in figure 10.7. Now we'll be going to the figure 10.7 in order to understand this activity. Okay class, can you see this is your figure 10.7. This is a model to show the mechanism of breathing. Can you see कि इन्होंने एक यहाँ पे एक ट्यूब ले ली, उसके अंदर this is Y shape and two balloons are here. Can you see the balloons? This is your plastic bottle and we have a rubber sheet at the bottom. Fine. So this is your inhalation. When you inhale the air, these balloons act as your lungs and the air is filled in these balloons, and when you exhale the air from the lungs move out. Fine. So my lungs कैसे हो जाते हैं? इस shape के हो जाते हैं. Fine. So let's understand the activity. Now cap the bottle, seal it to make it airtight. Fine. To the open base of the bottle tie a thin rubber or a plastic sheet as we have seen in figure 10.7 using a large rubber band. And in order to understand the expansion of the lungs, pull the rubber sheet from the base downward. अब lungs कैसे expand करेंगे? हमने ये जो rubber sheet थी ये वाली, इसको हमने नीचे की तरफ pull किया. जब pull करेंगे तो air का pressure increase हो जाएगा and the balloons will fill. Fine. And did you see any changes in the balloon? Yes, we see the balloons get filled with air. What do the balloon in this model represents? It represents the lungs of human beings. What does the rubber sheet represents? The rubber sheet here represents your diaphragm. What does it represent? It represents your diaphragm. Now you should be able to explain the mechanism of breathing. Fine. So you have to draw this diagram, class, in your fair notebooks. The next activity is activity 10.6, which is talking about how do we breathe out. हम exhale कैसे करते हैं? Take a cylinder, clean test tube or a plastic or a glass bottle, कुछ भी ले सकते हैं हम इनमें से, and we have to make a hole in its lid and fixed it on the bottle. Pour some freshly prepared lime water in the test tube and we will insert a plastic straw through the hole in the lid. Can you see this image? Effect of exhale on the lime water. ये से ट्यूब लेनी है, इसमें एक straw है and we are going to exhale the air from our mouth. Now blow gently through the straw a few times. Is there any change in the appearance of the lime water? हमने ये पहले physical और chemical changes में भी इसकी reaction करी है class कि lime water में जब हम carbon dioxide pass on करते हैं so it turns milky. Can you explain the change on what basis? Have you learned in chapter number 6? We have already discussed chapter number 6. So you are aware that the air we inhale or exhale is a mixture of gases. हम जो भी air inhale करते हैं generally we say कि हम क्या inhale कर रहे हैं? Oxygen, and we exhale carbon dioxide. So what do we exhale? We exhale generally the mixture. This image shows what your lungs inhale and what your lungs exhale. Find the percentage of oxygen and carbon dioxide. When we inhale, जब हम सांस लेते हैं तो उसमें ऑक्सीजन का परसेंटेज कितना होता है? 21%. और उसी के साथ हमारा 0.04% कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी होती है जब हम अंदर ऑक्सीजन को लेते हैं. और जब हम एक्सेल करते हैं देन मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ जो हम एक्सेल करते हैं उसका 16.4% ऑक्सीजन होता है एंड 4.4% कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड होता है. Are you getting my point? So this is also very important, class. Come to your activity. You must have also observed that if you exhale on a mirror, a film of moisture appears on its surface. जब भी हम शीशे के ऊपर ऐसे exhale करते हैं तो एक moisture आ जाता है ना? From where do these droplets come? So these droplets come from this mixture of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Fine. Next, we are going to talk about 10.5, that is breathing in other animals. We have discussed about human beings and we are now going to discuss about some other animals. Animals such as elephants, lions, cows, goat, frogs, lizards, snakes, birds have lungs in their chest cavities like human beings. इन सब के अंदर क्या होते हैं? Chest cavity होती है जैसे कि हमारे अंदर होती है. But how do other organisms breathe? Do they also have lungs like those of the human beings? क्या उनके पास भी lungs होते हैं? No, they have a different mechanism to go for respiration process, for inhalation and exhalation. So let us find out that what are those organisms breathe and how do they exhale and inhale the air. Let's talk about cockroach first. A cockroach has a very small opening on the sides of his body. Cockroach की body के sides पे बहुत छोटी छोटी openings होती हैं. ठीक है, बाकी insects के पास भी ऐसी similar openings होती हैं जितने भी insects होते हैं. और इन openings को हम क्या कहते हैं? These openings are called spiracles. Please underline this. These openings are called spiracles. Insects have a network of air tubes. उनके अंदर एक air tubes का network होता है जिसको हम क्या कहते हैं? Trachea. So that the exchange of gases can take place. Look at the figure 10.9. You can see the tracheas here. These are the tracheas. ये जो छोटी छोटी होती है ना, ये exchange के लिए होती है gases की. These are called tracheas. Oxygen rich air rushes through spiracles into the tracheal tubes. Spiral से वो कहाँ जाती हैं जो उनकी ऑक्सीजन रिच होती है एयर? वो ट्रैकिया में जाती है, ट्रैकियल ट्यूब्स में, और वहाँ जाके डिफ्यूज़ हो जाती है उनके बॉडी टिश्यूज़ के अंदर, और वहाँ से टिश्यूज से वो हर एक सेल तक पहुँच जाती हैं. सिमिलरली कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी, अब अगर हम ऑक्सीजन इनहेल करेंगे तो वही ऑर्गेनिजम्स कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एक्सेल भी करेंगे. तो ऐसे ही सेम मैकेनिज्म है. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड सेल से कहाँ गई? ट्रैकियल ट्यूब्स में, और ट्रैकियल ट्यूब से स्पाइरकल्स के थ्रू बाहर आ गई. These air tubes और trachea are found only in the insects. ये वाला tracheal system कहाँ पर होता है? सिर्फ insects में होता है, and not in any other group of animals. Okay, so tracheal system is found only in the insects. Now let's talk about earthworms. Recall the chapter number 9 of class 6. You have already discussed about earthworm in class 6, that earthworm breathe through their skin, through their moist skin. earthworm देखा है आपने कभी? उसकी skin होती है बड़ी moist सी और slippery सी skin होती है उसकी. The skin of earthworm feel moist and slimy on touching. गैसेस कैन ईजिली पास थ्रू देम. उनके अंदर से गैसेस जो होती हैं ईजिली पास ऑन हो सकती हैं थ्रू. दो फ्रॉग्स हैव अ पेयर ऑफ लंग्स लाइक ह्यूमन बींग्स. फ्रॉग्स के पास कैसे होते हैं? लंग्स होते हैं, पेयर ऑफ लंग्स जैसे हमारे पास होते हैं. दे कैन ऑल्सो ब्रीथ थ्रू देयर स्किन. उनके पास लंग्स भी हैं और वो स्किन से भी ब्रीथ कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज एन एग्जाम्पल. इट कैन कम in your exam question कि जो frogs होते हैं they have a pair of lungs as the human beings and they can also breathe through their skin. So question आ सकता है कि which animal या which you can say aquatic animal have both lungs and skin. So you have to answer it with a frog which is moist and slippery. Okay, coming to the next page, class. Now let's talk about breathing underwater. अब पानी के नीचे जो एनिमल्स होते हैं, एक्वेटिक एनिमल्स होते हैं, वो कैसे ब्रीथ करते हैं? हाउ यू नो दैट, यू हैव स्टडीड इन क्लास 6 कि जो फिश होती है वो किसके थ्रू ब्रीथ करती है? ऑक्सीजन कैसे जाता है? जो पानी में डिजॉल्व्ड ऑक्सीजन होती है वो उसको यूज़ करती है. एंड फॉर दिस पर्पज दे हैव अ स्पेशलाइज्ड ऑर्गन दैट इज कॉल्ड एज गिल्स. कैन यू सी द गिल्स हेयर इन डायग्राम? Gills are the projections of the skin. You may wonder how gills help in breathing. अब आपको ये पता होगा कि gills कैसे breathe in करती हैं. So gills are well supplied with blood vessels. Gills के अंदर बहुत अच्छे से richly blood vessels होते हैं for the exchange of gases. So you can see the diagram here. The breathing organs in fish is gills. Okay. Now let's talk about the plants. How do they respire? Plants are also living organisms. उनमें भी जान है. तो वो कैसे respire करते हैं? Like other living organisms, plants also respire for their survival. In order to survive, they are taking in the oxygen. They are taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. Fine. They also take in the oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. In the cells, oxygen is used to break down the glucose into carbon dioxide. Oxygen जो use करते हैं उससे क्या करते हैं? Glucose को break down करते हैं किसमें? Carbon dioxide and water as in other organism. In plants, each part can independently take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. You have already learned this in chapter number 1. The leaves of the plants have the tiny pores called stomata. Plants में क्या होते हैं? Stomatas होते हैं जिसमें exchange होता है gases का, oxygen and carbon dioxide का. So, like all other living cells of the plants, the roots also need oxygen to generate energy. जैसे बाकी organisms को, बाकी cells को plants के oxygen चाहिए होता है, ऐसे root cells को भी चाहिए होता है अपनी energy require करने के लिए. So, roots take up air from the air spaces that are present between the soil particles. Can you see? This is the soil and these are the soil particles. We have the root hairs in between them and the air spaces are also present for the supply of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So can you guess what would happen if a potted plant is overwatered? अगर हम उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा पानी डाल देंगे तो उनके बीच का जो एयर स्पेस है वो ख़त्म हो जाएगा और जो प्लांट को प्रॉपरली गैसेस नहीं मिल पाएंगी जिससे कि प्लांट डाई कर सकता है. In this chapter, you have learned that the respiration is a vital biological process. Vital here stands for very, very, very important biological process that is required for the survival of any living organism, be it a human being, be it a plants, be it in insects, any aquatic life. So, respiration is very important and all the living organisms, कोई भी हो, from the higher order to a lower order, they need to respire in order to get the energy that is needed for their survival. Fine. They respire to get the energy जिससे कि उनका food break down होता है, उनको energy generate होती है, so that which is important for their survival. And with this class we have completed our chapter number 10. I request you all to please send your queries, any doubts, whatever you have in the chapters to the class email ID so that I can get back to you with your doubts and your queries can be resolved in the upcoming videos. Do complete your notebooks and properly and draw the diagram which I have given you in your PDF file. Thank you. Take care of yourself, class. Thank you and have a nice day.